We made a quick halt at Marandanamadam, a suburb of Jaffna, with the idea of exchanging few words with locals in the city. Though it was not in original schedule, we got a valuable opportunity of getting a better insight of Hindu religious culture while participating for religious rituals at Anjaneya Hindu temple.
Now the LANKAPUVATH team has arrived in Marandanamadam town from Kankasanture to Jaffna. Now we can see that all civilians engaged in their daily activities. So we are happy to see that their daily life is going on without any hindrance. And now we are moving on to see how they engage in their day-to-day activities. Today is the day of their weekly fair, so we'll go in and see what is going on there.
We first went around the fair and exchanged ideas with vendors and people doing marketing on their day-to-day life. We noticed that people were busily engaged in fulfilling their daily needs. The fact that they were able to do so without facing any interference was the best evidence to show that normal public life has been restored in North.
Now we had a look at the daily affairs of the fair. Now we are ready to talk with a businessman who is near the fair, and he is selling shoes here.
මේ දවස්වල වැස්සෙන සපොඩ අඩු. ඇන්දට හොඳට තියෙනවා. මිනිස් පොඩ නිදාසෙන් ඉන්නවා දැන්. ඕන දෙයක් හොඳට තියෙනවා දැන්.
Yalpanam was well known from the ancient times for cultivation like onions, tobacco and chili. Majority of northern inhabitants earned their living through farming and cultivation in the past. The 30 years long war disrupted their peaceful lifestyle. It is said that Jaffna cultivators were agitated once in the past by the fact that items such as onions and chili, which were their main crops, were imported at a low cost, averting market channels for them. However, there were signs all over that today they are gradually settling back to regularity, with their livelihoods being restored. Tamil culture is nourished by the influence of Hinduism. Hindus worship many gods and they are faithful devotees of their religion. Anjaneya Hindu temple is a best example of Hindu religious culture. The huge sculptures and use of vibrant and lively colors in the architecture of the temple is like a mirror reflecting the traditional Hindu culture.
की जय जन मनहारी सीताराम जय सीताराम
जय दशरथ जय गिर बिहारी सीताराम जय सीताराम
रघुपति राघव राजा राम पतित पावन
After participating for rituals at Hanuman Kovil, now the LANKAPUVATH team is ready to explore another city in Yalpanam.
We had planned since the beginning of our journey to taste an authentic Yalpanam meal. Still, we could not locate a restaurant in an easily accessible location where such authentic dishes were available. What we could only find were the same Indian food items we are used to eat in any restaurant in Colombo or in any other parts of the country. Jaffna, a city which was once battered by the acts of merciless terror, is now gaining a new lease of life with the current development programs implemented in the area. Present government's development agenda is the same for both North and South. Inhabitants of Yalpanam are honestly happy about the development programs. It is no secret that the business ventures in Jaffna are now prospering. There was a time in the history when the wealthier businessmen too were merely reduced to possession of only the piece of cloth they were wearing. Such were the effects of Prabhakaran's insane dream of Elam. Now they have regained their dignity and status as successful entrepreneurs.
As we located next to the Jaffna railway station as a hotel business, there will be a good opportunity for us. And for not for the business, also the local people. There are the cheapest way of transport available between Colombo to Jaffna, and safety also. So the train once they started in 13, there is a good opportunity, and it's help to build a relationship between the north and south. And also actually we are next to the railway station, so we actually open up our new entrance on that next to the railway station, so that is a very walking distance. And also there are a lot of developments going on, and this is also that railway service is more important for that kind of development for, let's say, people doing business, so they easy to come and see their business and get an employers and get the other facilities from the south. So transport and even this all getting better and easy once the railway operations start. So the basically after this conflict over, government put lot of effort to develop the infrastructure of the northern province. There are now the roads are very good. Even the railway tracks are very good. You may feel it after Omande and Vavaniya, the tracks are better than the other part of Sri Lanka because it's a newly built track. So it's they focus on the future. That's infrastructure is very developed, and still there are some NGOs also working with the government to develop the youth skills and development, the NIT, the national youth training programs and all are going on. As a hotel field, there are this industry is very new to the Jaffna Peninsula. So most of the hotels are earlier as run as a guest house and convert as now as a hotels. So they need a lot of support, but they give support through the one-stop unit, the mobile unit, the tourist board. They come and do regulations and all, but still we require some helps because the skilled labor is still shortage, and earlier getting some materials not available in Jaffna. So these kind of things we even for the tourist boat we have to travel to Colombo earlier, it's difficult. So there are some shortcomings, and overall there are government give good enough support for this hotel business.
Our next stop was at the ancient Dutch fort of Jaffna. While exploring the city, we took the liberty of talking to residents of Jaffna on their political views and opinions. During the discussions held with residents of Yalpanam, we could discern that they do not have faith on their regional political leadership. Prabhakaran, the leader of LTT, should 100% bear the responsibility for this dilemma, as he murdered all stronger political leaders who represented the true cause of Tamils. He climbed up the ladder to become the sole representative of Tamils, not through winning the hearts of people, but by wiping off the true leadership of Tamils with the power of the gun. LTTE, the terrorist movement led by Prabhakaran and his ferocious gang, silenced all Tamil leaders starting from Alfred Duraiappa. The leaders who represent Tamil community today are not true leaders. They are a group of nominal leaders who had been Muppets of Prabhakaran one time. Hence, one cannot expect them to work for the best interest of Tamil community with an honest intention. It was not anyone but Prabhakaran, the so-called leader of Tamils, who led them into a state of political purge. He hid himself behind a sheepskin, pretending that it is for the true liberation of Tamils he is struggling for. But the truth was far beyond that. A very special personality joined with us to express his views on the current political landscape of North. He who had spent nearly 40 years on a foreign soil returned to motherland immediately after the complete eradication of terrorism with the aim of serving his own people. Retired engineer Mr. Surya Sekaram explained to us how the people of North are benefited through recent changes and development programs going on in the area.
I decided to go to UK and do something of my own. So I went there and then I did engineering at University of London. After that I started working there and I was involved with the British politics throughout that period. As soon as the war was over in 2009, I decided to take early retirement and come back to my country and start serving my country. So I'm also involved in various other political, social and other activities, and I find this is a very good period for expatriate Tamils to be here, because there's a great deal of opportunity to serve the country and your people. So I am enjoying this experience here very much. I see Sri Lanka in a very positive way. The war has been very devastating. So after the war, many good things have happened. I don't want to list so many things, but development is one of the key things. But on the political side, I think we are very behind. We have a lot more things to do in addition to what they have already done. The election of the Northern Provincial Council is a positive thing, but there is ongoing conflict between the Northern Provincial Council and the government, which I think I largely blame the Northern Provincial Council for not capturing the opportunity and working closely with the government. But also I do blame the government in certain ways, because it requires two people to cooperate. Government should cooperate with the TNA. I'm not a TNA supporter, but they are the elected body, so government should cooperate with them, and the TNA also should cooperate with them, which I think is very lacking. On the TNA side, it is very disappointing that they are not taking this thing as a positive, in a positive way. And if you look at the news media in the Northern Province, it is also very negative, very old-fashioned, very inward-looking. Instead of being part of the whole country and moving in unison with the rest of the country and entering into dialogue with our Sinhala brothers and sisters, they are looking, thinking and doing everything in an inward way, which is not very positive in my opinion.
We then resumed our journey towards Nallur Kovil, which is a landmark in the city of Jaffna. Some people who were gathered near the temple spoke to us about their experience.
என்னுடைய அனுபவத்தில் நான் 1982 ஆண்டு ஒரு தமிழ் மக்களுடைய
In 1982, I fought for the freedom of the Tamil people, but at that point in time, freedom was just a concept and unattainable. Yet today, people live in joy, peace and prosperity. It was never possible for any northern politician or party to understand the troubles or win the hearts of the Tamil people. It is possible to win the hearts of the people if it is possible to understand our problems and us as people. The President understands our problems, and he is making a dream come true. The development in the north is as never before. Just as the President understands our needs, if the other Tamil political parties and leaders understood and unite to further his vision, finding a long-term solution will not be difficult. If the President were to address the other problems of the Tamil people as he has so far, we will not refrain from worshipping him as if he were a god.
வென்றெடுத்தால் நிச்சயமா இந்த ஜனாதிபதி ஒரு பெரிய ஒரு தெய்வீகமான புனிதமான மனிதர்.
A person may easily be pushed to a point of rage when the topic in argument is that of either religion or race. Prabhakaran addressed the latter. He was well versed in ideas of revenge and war, yet hardly so in matters of diplomacy and politics. Yet through his vision of peace and prosperity, President Mahinda Rajapaksa has given our country a chance to heal from the wounds of war. It is the belief of a majority of the people in Jaffna that through his political maturity and vision, our country will never again suffer the turmoil of conflict and civil war. And once again, Tamil people of Sri Lanka may live honored and respectable lives. The high level of physical development that has reached this area after the end of the war is immense. Many a person who spoke with us said that never before has any political leader, either Sinhala or Tamil, been able to relate to their needs and wants in such a manner. The local leaders selected by the people of Jaffna, in hope they would correctly address their issues, have by now completely lost the faith of the people by whom they were elected. The residents of Yalpanam still look on with hopeful eyes towards the President Mahinda Rajapaksa as the leader who brought peace and freedom from terrorism, as the only leader who will bring prosperity and fulfillment to the wishes of all people in Sri Lanka, regardless of stature and creed. From there, our journey led us to a place where the educated elders of this community would often meet in secret during the tyranny of LTTE regime, the Shivan temple near the city limits of Jaffna. Even today, when all communication barriers have been lifted, out of habit people still gather to while away the evening in conversation.
දැන් මේ යන්න මේ ඩෙවලොප්මන්ට් එක යාපනයට කල්පනා කරන්න බැරි වැඩ එක තමයි දැන් යන්නේ එක. මේක මේ අපේ ප්‍රොවින්ෂල් කවුන්සිල් එකටත් මේක කරන්න බෑ. Because the NPC is not functioning properly, because they are fighting. They are putting so much of demands that is utopia, not practical one. They are asking change the governor, change the chief secretary. Lot of that is not the people's problem. People have lot of problem after the end of the war, so they didn't look after that problem. Only they are speaking. Provincial council is not a place to speak politics. It's a council to develop this area. So that is not considered by this our chief minister and other people. And now very recently they are struggling with themselves also. So it is my problem. So look into other Sri Lanka's other regions provincial council compared with that. If you see Northern Provincial Council region not functioning, totally failure. They are quarreling with themselves, and they recently boycott our president. So Mahinda Rajapaksa is the president of Sri Lanka, not for South. He's president for North also, so they should participate in this program. They boycotted because this is the politics. In future, I think they also will lose people's support. I think so.
Prabhakaran, the apparent leader of the Tamil liberation movement, was ill-educated in terms of politics of any sense. He was responsible for many deaths of the people he said he represented, and if ever was the chosen leader of the northern Tamil people, he was so because they had no other choice. Any other choice he removed with bullets. He was constantly held in fear and doubt in the minds of the educated Tamil people and never held dear to the heart. It seemed as though Prabhakaran never had any true need to be dear in the hearts of the people, but preferred violent means to keep his propaganda and regime in place. It is a challenge still for the President to eradicate the ideas of hatred sworn in his wake. Another issue we noticed on this journey was that the ideas of creed and caste held dormant through the LTTE activity has once again begun to resurface. Many a person we spoke with shared thoughts with us regarding this matter. It is the responsibility of social activists to address this issue in a manner it does not impose or pressurize anyone. for the possibility that the minds of groups in unease and frustration may easily once again turn towards hate. On this trip, we did not, however, see or hear of any militarization. As is usual in Jaffna, in hopes to appease either international communities or certain local northern leaders. Both local people and military personnel we spoke with confirmed of mutual understanding and respect towards each other. Prabhakaran's priority was never to win the hearts of the Tamil people, but rather to appease the diaspora who funded his violent operations. It was never a secret that Prabhakaran alienated the people he apparently represented to fulfill the whims of the diaspora. The responsibility of truly addressing the problems of the Tamil people has fallen upon the shoulders of our President. The heavy responsibility of leading the people of this country towards a prosperous future with a framework for a mutually inclusive society rests upon the shoulders of the incumbent government headed by the President Mahinda Rajapaksa. It was common belief among nearly all people we spoke with that President Mahinda Rajapaksa is the only leader with the ability to truly create a nation and social structure where Tamil people may truly live in integrity and pride, and with the hope that he may be given the opportunity to fulfill these expectations, we say farewell to the palm-lined landscape of Jaffna.